Hi you guys. Okay, it's Friday. It's been a long week. I promised earlier this week that I would get on here and do a live about some questions I get a lot of the time, but especially I've been getting a lot the last couple weeks about decanting, food, and pantry items. So the few questions that I get the most when decanting items are, what do you do about expiration dates? I also get asked the question, what do you do with backstock? Because if you're putting items in a new container, sometimes you end up with a little bit of excess. And then the third question I get about decanting items is, what do you do with instructions? So I'm going to, because this isn't like a slideshow presentation, I can't show you images, but I am going to hopefully describe accurately and well how I do them and how we made them work. And we have different clients with different preferences. So first things first, expiration dates. Whenever I put something in a new container, I always get people who are very concerned about food going bad. So my personal philosophy is, if I am putting items into a new container, that means that's an item that we are constantly rotating through as a family. And I know not everyone's going to feel the same way as I do, and that's totally fine, but I personally don't care about expiration dates. I do in general. I care about expiration dates of the things that in the fridge, I'll check them, but I'm really trying to be intentional about all the things I buy. That's my philosophy at Reset Your Nest and in life. And so I know that we're going to use the flour before it goes bad. I know we're going to use the brown sugar before it goes bad. I know that the things that we're putting in containers are going to be used up before they go bad. So I've never had a problem with that. But for clients who want to have expiration dates written down, which I think is great, I know a lot of people do, there are a few things that we do. Chalk markers are great. They can write on glass or on plastic, and they're easy to wipe off afterwards, and it's white, so it kind of looks nice. There's also a product, and I'll link it later today, called dry erase tape. And so it's just tape that's about as thick as packing tape. You can cut it and just stick it anywhere on your container. You can stick it on the back, on the bottom, underneath the lid, wherever it is. And you can either use a dry erase marker or a wet erase marker. That's what I prefer. Dry erase markers, they tend to get wiped off because you don't need anything wet to wipe it off. Wet erase markers, if you're not familiar with them, they're same as dry erase markers, except you just need some moisture. So it will come off. It's completely washable if written on the correct surface, not clothing. But you just need a wet paper towel to wipe off the expiration date and then write a new one on. So that's my recommendation. That's my preferred method of recording expiration dates, is the wet erase marker on dry erase tape. But there are lots of different things you can do. And I just make sure that when we do record the expiration dates, they're just out of sight and hidden. And so I think that's a great option if expiration dates are something that concern you. Another thing that I do, or another topic that I get a lot of questions on, are directions. What do you do with directions? Again, most of the things I decant, I don't have directions I need, but I know lots of times there are. So there are two things that we've done in the past. We'll cut out the directions and use clear packing tape to adhere it to the back of the container. And that works great in most instances. Sometimes it's hard to get it to lay perfectly flat and it doesn't have that finished touch. So I'm going to show you what we've been using lately. I hope it shows up well because it's clear. I don't know if you've seen these. We use these in garages a lot. It's like a plastic sleeve slip cover and it's adhesive. So it's clear like that and you can slide things in it. So if we can get anything to fit in this size, we just stick this on the back of the container and then we cut the directions and slide it in. So even if it's like sticking up out of it, it makes it really nice because then it's almost a card. So cream of wheat, Kodiak cakes, which is a pancake mix we have in Utah. I don't know if they have it outside Utah. Different items that people want directions for. Even a 3x5 note card can be cut to size and put in here if they're handwritten directions for cracked wheat or something you buy in bulk like oatmeal, or if you want to remember the ratio for steel cutouts, whatever it is. I really like these slip covers, and you can write your directions. Sorry, I have a runny nose. On the card. Hi guys, I'm doing a thing on Instagram. Kids are home for the weekend. you can write them on the card and then put it on the back of your container. So that is a really great option. And then the last thing I'm going to address, because I get asked this question all the time, is what do you do with Backstock? So it just depends on the kitchen and the pantry and the system. But for me, I like to have all of my Backstock and food storage in a separate food storage pantry. So whenever we run out of any item, whether it's an item that we buy in bulk or an item that we've decanted, we go down to the food storage closet, bring it up, we shop there first before we know that we need to shop the store. When we realize we're getting low in our food storage closet, we just add it to the list of things we need to get in next week's shopping trip. But I know a lot of pantries are much bigger than mine, and a lot of homes don't have food storage, an extra closet for food storage. So in those cases, I like to use baskets up high on top, and we just label them Backstock. Sometimes we'll divide between different Backstocks, so you could have grains Backstock or cereal Backstock, whatever it is that you maybe like to buy in bulk but don't need a ton right in your prime real estate areas. You can also put Backstock down low for heavier items like drinks, just whatever it is. So I think it really is so nice too, because when you do have a Backstock or even that little bit of excess, it's nice because when you run out, you're actually not out. You have it in your house, so you shop from your house first, and then you know that it needs to go on the list. And so it really kind of gives you a little bit of flex room to not run out of your favorite things. One more tip with decanting. I think ideally when you're buying containers, as long as you're not buying like crazy 20-pound bags of flour, ideally when we are organizing someone's home, and in my own home, I like to choose the size of containers that will accommodate the size of package an item comes in. So if I typically buy a bag of pretzels once every 2 weeks, for example, I'm going to choose a container that I can dump the entire bag of pretzels into. So I'm not always like dumping 3/4 of it and then ending up with an awkward amount. Sometimes if you buy multi-meal cereal, you're always going to end up with some extra. But in general, I like to choose a container that matches the size that the product comes in, if that makes sense. So those are my tips, tricks, and honest opinions on expiration dates, Backstock, and what we do with directions. I hope that answered all your questions. Let me know if you have any more. I hope you guys have a great weekend. And yeah, thank you for being here. Just love this community, and I'm so grateful you're here.